Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Burgham here at the Association of the United States Army's annual conference and trade show in Washington, D.C., the #1 gathering of U.S. Army leaders from around the world to talk about the service's future, its budget, strategies, technologies, programs, and more. Our coverage here is sponsored by Bell, a Textron company, Elbit Systems of America, L3 Technologies, Leonardo DRS, and Safran. And we have with us our partners at DSEI, Grant Burgham, who heads DSEI UK, world's largest defense exhibition for ground systems, air systems, as well as maritime systems, and Alex Soar, who's part of the DSEI team over at Clarion Exhibitions as well, who's doing the new show in Japan, which is historic and is going to be, I think, extremely closely watched. Grant, it's a 20th anniversary year for DSEI. What are you guys doing to make the show even bigger and better than it is? And I'm not sure it can get any bigger, but I'm sure if anybody's going to pull it off, it's going to be you.
Absolutely. Well, we are currently 83% sold out, so that's a good reflection on what we're doing globally. We're also looking to celebrate the 2 decades of the supporting the armed forces, and that's a really good momentum for us for 2019.
And what do you think are going to be some of the big themes? You know, I mean, every year there's a very large naval exhibition that's part of it. I mean, it's an extraordinary, the Excel Center is an extraordinary venue that has that waterfront area where ships can get to. But what do you think some of the big themes are going to be? Because, you know, every show has a theme and a vibe and a message at the end of the day.
Absolutely. The main theme across the exhibition and the conference program is going to be about emerging technologies, cross-sector exploitation, as well as international partnerships.
And that's certainly the place to do it. How many international pavilions are there going to be?
Currently got 40, and we're planning on having 45.
And you're working hard on some of those.
Absolutely.
Alex, let me ask you, I mean, Japan has traditionally had one air show, if you will. It's been the Society of Japanese Aerospace Companies, the SJAC show, but it's tended to be a little bit of a more modest affair. Japan has always been very sensitive about how it's seen on a national security perspective, but Japan has been moving very, very quickly to shed that World War II mantle, say, hey, look, we've been a productive member of society for 70 years, and certainly the Asian economic revolution was built on Japanese investment across the region. Talk to us a little bit about what this new show is going to be and some of the messages, because I know you're working closely with the Japanese government to try to make sure that it sends the right message across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been working towards this for the last 3 or 4 years now, and with the change in the constitution in Japan about 4 years ago, and the kind of increasing desire for Japanese companies to develop international technological partnerships, we feel that this is a good and appropriate time for Japan to have a proper international tri-service defense and security show. And we'll build that on the top of what we've done at DSEI. DSEI in London, we pull together the entire defense security and the supply chain year on year, and we want to build on that in Japan and offer another gateway, not just to the Japanese industry and not just for Japanese industry to access the rest of the world, but for the rest of the world to access Asia as well.
And I think that people have a tendency of forgetting that actually some of the most sophisticated defense producers in the world is actually Japanese industry at the end of the day. And the pavilions have been growing around the world as well, and when you see an increasing Japanese presence. Do you have any sense on how, first give us the dates of the show and exactly how large you expect it to be, because there's such a pent-up demand for both Western companies to get into Japan, but also Japanese companies to really showcase the breadth of their capability.
Absolutely. So the dateline for this is November of 2019, so immediately after DSEI in London. And in terms of scale, we would expect to have about 250 exhibitors, about 6,000 square meters gross, which is about the same size as a Manhattan city block in American terms.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice exhibition for the way to start off. Just imagine where you're going to be in a couple of years. Speaking of a couple of years, every year DSEI works to try to get better. Registration has been smoother than ever. There are rarely any, you guys work hard to minimize the lines and really maximize the program. I mean, it's one of these shows that I've lobbied, I think, to say that you could use one more day, although I know that there are some people who'd want to kill me. But it is one of the shows that starts furious and really goes right to that Friday furious. What are some of the things, Grant, you and your team are doing to improve the experience? You know, each year we see improvements. What are some of the areas you guys have targeted to make better for everybody who attends this year?
Absolutely. I think what's key is our customer experience. The show lies across a number of pillars. Our experience is one, network is another, content is the other. And we want to make sure that those pillars are maintained throughout the on-site as well as the campaign. We're very excited about a number of things. Registration is also very key for us, again, as you highlighted. So we're making sure that we have a speedy access and making sure that our process is the best in the world.
And you guys manage to actually keep the security end of it up as well, because it's remarkably thorough and yet pretty fast moving. See, I'm giving you a free plug, but I have to say it does work remarkably well, unlike some other shows where you're like, are you sure you're checking those bags, or am I just waiting online as some placebo effect at the end of the day? What I didn't ask you, Alex, is about how far sold are you guys on this, right? I mean, about how many people have already signed up? Because you're still a little bit of a year and change out from the show.
Yeah, so we're 14 months out. We have 45 companies involved in the show, so of that 250, I think we're doing pretty well at this stage. And there's another 40 or so companies who have stands on hold or on reserve, so we'll be filling up pretty rapidly.
Great. Alex Soar of DSEI Japan, very much looking forward to seeing you in Tokyo. Grant Burgham of DSEI proper in the UK, very much looking forward to working and seeing you both. And it's hard to imagine, but I mean, you're bearing down on the wedding. I mean, it's only 11 months away now.
That's correct. Yeah, we look forward to welcoming you, Vago. You're an integral part of our partnership, and we look forward to working with you.
Exactly. Same here very much, Grant. All the best to you guys, and look forward to seeing you many more times before the shows.
Thank you
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And hope you guys have a smooth ride home.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Vago.